Shocking, isn't it? Hello people, Zach Millionaire. Welcome back to Silence, the House. I'm joined with my cousin, Jorn Nightmane. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're gonna try again. Try all again. Maybe, can I load it? No, I cannot load it, because I did not. But I did save everyone the last episode by just saying, let's go to the amusement park. And then Grace died. Oh, great.
True miracle is to see your own sins.
Anthony the Great. Alright, let's see if let's skip this.
Oh my god.
Do you wish to save them, Ashley? No.
They aren't worth the chance. I must stick to the plan. The forest, like a hungry beast with trees for teeth, devoured us in a cold, dead night. Their branches look like crooked hands. They struggle to rip our faces off, or maybe we just couldn't realize their true intentions. Maybe the trees were torturing themselves, wickedly twisting their branches to set a warning for us that in the end of the path, which was flickering in the beams of our flashlights, the darkness was waiting. Lloyd looked really nervous. He was haunted by the rustles and it made him mad. His hand that was clenching the flashlight was swinging like some kind of pendulum with a glowing demonic eye.
I just realized something. I think we're Ashley. The girl with the sweater.
It's
possible.
Your turn.
As the flashlight was only uncovering things lurking in the darkness, and that it couldn't immediately burn his phantom enemies alive, it scared him even more. I heard a strange sound and raised my head to see that it was just a crow. And the beam of light ran through the black feathers, and the crow merged with the night. I am the only one who actually knows that the darkness is hiding, but I am still scared. My fears are not that simple. It is not what you feel when your reflection refuses to obey. The illusions in the bathroom mirror can't scare the shit out of me. It is just not enough. What really scares me is that the plan could fail. When you follow the untrodden path, you are always on thin ice. I feel like I'm lost in a boundless ocean, searching for a shark to ask if the human flesh is delicious. Do you really want to talk to a shark, Ashley? I wonder whether or not I'm still sane. The weak beam of light was sliding along the path full of faded leaves. Then suddenly something on the ground caught my eye. Oh! Grace. Grace is you, I think.
Shit, what the heck?
It was a dead crow. Maybe the one I had seen earlier, nobody knows. Its eyes were sparkling in the beam of light. It was staring at me and gave me the creeps.
It's just a dead bird. I've seen much worse in horror movies. Do you often see dead crows in horror movies? Pretty often, yeah. Why do you ask? We recently watched a movie, and in the beginning, the dudes ran into dead crows in the forest, just before the massacre began.
I don't freak everybody out. I saw this bird of death only after my live stream was over. It reminded me of those days that I was imprisoned in a mental hospital. The walls of my ward were my only friend. Sometimes I really wanted to discuss the weather outside with them. Of course, the staff didn't neglect their everyday duties, and the doctors regularly visited me and asked only one question: how are you doing today? Actually, a tape recorder in repeat mode asking how are you would be just the same. Just like the tape. The therapist wouldn't even change the words or say anything else. Perhaps he already knew how I was, or he didn't care. Anyhow, every time he asked me, my answer was the same: silence. I only showed the same article torn from the newspaper about my family burnt alive in the car accident. Crow reminded me of the very first ink blot of Rose-Cratch test, so the train of memory suddenly started to chase me along the rusty rails imaginarily built under my feet. I knew the exact spot where the rust corroded them and the train got off track. People in it started screaming in panic and hitting their heads against the walls. Insanity. That is why I choose to focus on our way. I was afraid to lose the path because it was a thin tight rope that was saving me from falling into the void where evil spirits were crying my name. You need to calm down. Pull yourself together, Ashley. You have to be ready when the game begins. Seems like I buried my head in the sand too deeply, but fortunately, a rough male voice dug me out. Stop fooling around. I've already got goosebumps, and we are not in the house yet. What's on his arm? Is that a tattoo of a lizard? Oh, that's cool. Got a little lizard tattoo. This is you.
What are you afraid of, Powerhouse? I'm pretty sure you're the fastest among us all, and even if we run into a serial killer in the freaking house, you will be able to run away.
Right, the killer would carve my enormous body as I've put on a couple of kilos this week. You look thin as a toothpick. Shut up! I won't even glance at a cake. Dude, you're gonna get...
Everyone laughed, but Martin started to comfort his girlfriend by telling her that she had a nice figure, obviously.
Yeah.
I grinned. She really was a slim girl and just wanted to be in the spotlight, as always. But today, nothing will save her. I looked forward. Unexpectedly, I found myself ahead of everybody, and I didn't even remember how I left them behind. It was as usual as summer rain and as sudden as snow in the beginning of July. I had to be the first. I need to see it first. Mysterious forces were guiding me to that place. I was just a fish caught on a hook of curiosity, pulling me into the fisherman. Every new location has its own atmosphere. When I was wandering along the halls of the innovative factory, I felt like I was trapped in the black hole of sorrow. The wet windows of the abandoned hospital were crying with raindrops of various shapes, which constantly changed and drew enormous pictures as if invented by a bland imagination. Eventually, I saw it. I guess it was the fateful moment, so I wanted to have a proper look at it.
Like, do you think anything is off-putting but the fact that these, how many kids? 4 or 5 kids? Just walk into the woods to find a creepy house that's probably abandoned. You never know what you're gonna find there. That's the problem. Jeez.
Well, yeah, true. You know, like spirits and that.
Yeah, I know. At first, I saw condors behind the dense pine trees. It was like a shadow, but then some significant parts of the building started to make out. We were quite far away from it, but I noticed that just for a moment, the lights on the first floor turned on. And then one more time, like a lighthouse. Is it the house or my imagination? If I saw or heard something odd, I would think I was crazy. And it would be more casual than any other thing going on in my life. I can't decide yet whether the house is a friend or an enemy. Of course, its purpose is clear to me, as it always was, regardless to location or building. But despite its purpose, maybe this house decides for itself. I can't explain why, but somehow it is alive. All places were. They became alive for me, because things just couldn't be so simple when someone like me is involved. Anyway, if I stick to the plan, this house will play nice, or not. It may be as treacherous as the devil, hiding the delicious candies inside the hungry jaws of doom. The house gazed at me with its lightless windows. They were dark, like eyes of the blind. But I knew that it watched me very carefully. Out of the blue, a hoarse voice broke down the strange connection between us. Now I knew that I wasn't the only one that was looking at the house, which meant that it saw us all.
Wow, this damn thing is huge. Not bad, Grace. How did you find it?
Don't fool yourself. You might think it was hard to discover such a place, but the house stands right in the glade. I bet some naughty local children ran around the house pretending to be ghost hunters or something. Cut the crap, will you? What's wrong? Everybody knows ghost stories are for children. Am I right, guys? No one said a word. We continued approaching the house in dead silence. Oh wow, we're at the door. It was so deep in my thoughts that I jumped when I suddenly heard a metal clip hit the wooden planks. And then found myself standing at the front entry door. Freedom! Finally! She dropped off her backpack and stretched herself out on the porch.
Tired already. Maybe we should go inside first. Looks like the door is locked. I don't think the ghosts are dying to meet us.
Go to hell, moron, and meet the damn ghost yourself. You are really a pain in my ass. You are so sweet, guys. Let me handle this stupid door.
Hold on, big boy.
Now what?
I'm working on it. All of these idiots were searching for a way in. I was picking a lock with my own skeleton key. I'm not sure how many doors is already conquered. It was the same as picking tiger's teeth to see how his digestive work. Something moved. I couldn't say for sure, but it felt like the mouth of the door took a tight grip on the skeleton key with its metal tongue and devoured it. Seriously?
Wow, that face of like... God damn it!
I got mad and kicked the damn door. What the hell? The door was opening so slowly with a squeaky old like crap sound. However, it resembled the screams of the tortured souls. I couldn't bear it. Nice job.
That pose though.
Every time the pose.
I approached the door, but I didn't open it. It opened itself. What's going on here? It was very dusty inside the house. Looks like the ghosts aren't very hospitable. Everyone laughed except Lloyd. He gave Kate a significant look. I think everyone knows that you don't believe in such shit. Can you please stop? What's wrong? Darkness is so scary. Am I right, big boy? Come on, I'm just teasing you. It's fun. But it's not like that. So you tell me that what can hide behind the shadow curtain? If not a ghost, or phantom, then what is it? It isn't my fear. It is a freaking mental disorder. The name is necrophilia.
I think it's nyctophobia.
Nyctophobia. Oh yeah, nyctophobia. Make sure that your flashlight is not dead, or you'll be in trouble. Don't even count on mine. Everyone laughed again. There was no need in flashlights anymore. Glowing eye of a full moon illuminated the house pretty well, but when we were outside, it surely was dark. It was very strange. Those freaking tricks again. Though, it looks like it wasn't a big deal for everyone except me. Even though candles peeked out literally every corner of the room, I think everyone thought it was Grace's joke or something. The place aroused my curiosity, and I wanted to explore it a little bit. There were a few pictures hanging on the walls. That one's crooked. You know it's me. Your turn.
To be exact, some of them have fallen off and were lying on the floor like dead rats, with twisted paper tails. I saw no mirrors in the room, thank God. But it was only the first door.
Lord.
Still, I'm glad. Houses are like narrators of people's lives, made to tell the stories of their owners.
Having trouble there?
It's just that. And this one was choking on dust and death. This armchair looked really convincing.
It's a nice armchair there. It's a nice old one.
It was old and fractured, but I still knew that its appearance was a lie. Even the carpet was old and shabby for every second of its existence. I was aware of those tricks, and I knew I had little time. I took the cell phone out of my pocket and
Looked at the display. I saw that the connection was lost, and that it was already 8 p.m. Clock was ticking. Ella should turn up soon. I hope she would find the house. At least, I drew her a map. While exploring the room with a fireplace, I found boxes full of candles. I smiled wearily. While we would need them later. And of course, there was a book. It is most important item. I just don't know how to do it without some extraordinary stuff. Of course, it was no amateur in that kind of cuisine. You could call me a chef of the kitchen, I guess. I knew it from A to Z. I looked at the others. They all were wearing the same smiling faces except for Lloyd. This poor creature. Poor, idiotic creature. He wanted to blow Grace's skirt up literally. Sadly for him, it's not going to happen. Ever. The girl have already prepared their sleeping bag, spread some blankets on the floor. The scary house was slowly turning into some kind of warm loneliness. But I rushed to conclusions. Okay. The strings of fear caught us in its web, and when we saw a straw doll on the sofa, her button eyes pierced us through as if it was staring at our souls. Somewhere behind the skin, there was a hall full of screams which couldn't reach our mouths. It looks mangled. Damn. I don't like how it's staring at us. Yeah, dude.
the apple of her eye was black, like a rotten, dead fruit, and the flickering hellfire of the candles made the scene more satanic.
Oh boy.
Lloyd nearly shit bricks when he saw this evil thing. The guy made a very strange screaming-like sound. Kate just couldn't miss the joke. She took her cell phone out of the pocket and her fingers started to dance on the phone keypad. Suddenly, she began a made-up dialogue. pretending there was someone on the other end of the line.
Hello? Is this the mother of one wicked straw doll, who I tend to know? Good. Tell your child to stay out of the light because she is too scary for our little Lloyd. The girl scared him to death, you know. Go to hell. Enough with the canny shit for one evening. Lloyd rushed to the sofa and grabbed the straw doll. Give me a hand, man. Light it up, Marty. What are you doing?
Marty gave his lighter to Lloyd, and this idiot threw the doll into the fireplace with a hair set on fire, but the flame died immediately.
The damn witch! What? Why don't you just perish?
You are a real idiot. It's a doll, not a paper shit. You need to light the fireplace first. We can use books or newspapers.
Everyone glanced at me in surprise. Well, there was always some books in the house. It's an ordinary thing. We could search for them. Phew, I almost got caught. Of course, I knew the books were here. I know everything about this place. There was a playroom on the second floor, a kitchen on the ground floor, and 2 bathrooms. I was connected to this house, and I could almost hear squeaking mice gnawing its beating heart behind the walls. But it was only a strange delusion leaving my mind. These morons looked in every corner of the house to found nothing. So it was my turn.
Here they are. Geez, they are heavy.
Lloyd approached me and took the books. Congratulations, Miss Ashley. I'm appointing you to the Master of Doll Inquisition now.
Thanks a lot.
I faked a clumsy smile that almost turned into disgust. Where are you going? It's time to punish the sinner.
Maybe you can deal with this on your own.
Don't be a pussy. It's just a joke. You are the justice. Make the evildoer pay.
He lent me a lighter. If it were not for the rules, I would beat him hard. Okay. I set fire to one of the pages and threw the book on the pile of other books. They turned to ashes in seconds, but the doll was still in flames. I was watching her face turning black in the bright scarlet flame. Tongues of fire played with the stitches on the doll's face, and for a moment I saw her wicked smile. I heard agonized screams. In my hand there was something, a phone. On the other end of the line, the tires rubbing against the ground, grinding of metal, bones cracking, the front window smashing into pieces. I feel shards of glass stuck in my neck. They pierce my heart and, well,
my chest and my heart.
Yeah.
Maybe the explosion torn their limbs off. Maybe it was a meteor falling from the sky. Or they were buried alive by some psycho. It doesn't matter. They are dead. I can't stand it anymore. I relived this nightmare over 1,000,000 times. I relived the day when I was all gone. Without knowing it, I touched the tooth, which I was always carrying in my pocket. It was some kind of ritual, but not as useless as most of them. It was more than effective. For a moment, sorrow in my eyes had changed to coldness. My fingers released the tooth, and I looked at Lloyd.
Satisfied?
Wow. Yeah, but you're the sinner like everyone else. That's why you should be punished. I'll turn you on the minute I turn off the lights in the bedroom, sweetie.
Lloyd didn't give me a chance to evade his lighting kiss. I have almost died of disgust as his tongue touched my cheeks like a maggot lurking in a corpse. His lips were as cold as dead man's. I guess I'll pass. I'd rather confess my sins. Your turn.
I smiled wearily and whipped his icy touch from skin with my sleeve. Actually, there was one thing you're right about, everyone's sins. Lloyd shrugged his shoulders and began unpacking his things. It's present giving time. The girl opened her backpack and took out a book with colorful ribbon on it. Take it, beautiful, it's for you.
Nah, thanks, cutie. I've always wanted to read a biography of Scott Malcolm, one of the greatest guitarists.
Oh, so she likes rock music. That makes sense. What was next? I thought that if you'd like their last album, you must check out these. Grace looked at the CDs and hugged Lloyd. She slapped his butt hard.
Ha!
God, I had that happen to me once. It was weird. The keys to the house in Skyworth Lane, 65, trickled like a ringing bell. That's all you get, big boy. Lloyd was a little embarrassed. I gave her earrings. They were pretty cheap. I bought them on sale.
Thanks.
Martin left the house. Though the window I saw him smoking. He didn't even try to take his pack of smokes out of his pocket on the way here. Maybe if he smoked near Kate, she would order him to swallow the cigarettes one by one, lit up. When Martin came back, he took a bracelet from his bag and whispered something.
I bought it because it was beautiful and cheap, of course. But it has the Japanese hieroglyphs, which means happiness and money. So maybe it'll work fine for you. Cool, nice thinking. All of a sudden, Martin put the bracelet on Grace. It cuffed her wrist with a loud click. Now it was time to eat the cake, but Ella was still on her way, so everyone felt depressed. Someone suggested playing cards, and everyone agreed. Your turn.
In fact, I didn't know who it was because my mind was focused on other kinds of issues. I had more important things to do. I approached the book that was lying on the mantelpiece and looked at it. No one noticed the book except me. It was out of human sight. Even I did not see it. I only felt it at first. When I opened the book, I looked at strange symbols that don't make any sense until it touched the tooth in my pocket. I understood everything. While consuming the symbols, I almost tore some of the pages off. Finally, thousands of letters and words formed the phrase.
Mors Ufira.
All done, Ashley. This phrase was like a good old friend to me. I lost count of how many times this phrase came up in my mind, and still I couldn't remember its true self. How full of inconceivable power. If I just spoke the mysterious words without the book, nothing would happen.
Mors Ufira.
I took my phone out of my pocket and looked at the display. It was 10 p.m. already. The time passed quickly, and the game was about to begin. Would it be a fair one? This question has always tortured me. I couldn't say if I'm going to be doing the right thing or not. I was always doubt. Some part of me knows the answer, but I don't know which part it is. While I was reading the book, the others continued to play cards. Both Lloyd and Martin called me to join a couple times, but I always refused. They didn't ask why. I think they were just playing their own game with me. I finished reading the book, so it's time to make my turn. I need to come up with something fast to hurry things up. I can't just leave this to Grace. Even the fact that I am allegedly holding her brother hostage doesn't mean I can fully trust her. And suddenly, Luck smiled at me. I saw Lord cheating at cards. The trick was simple. He filled the hand with trumps. I just need to prove it, so I just waited for the right moment. I can see things. I see. I bet you have a trump, ace, and jack. Stop being ridiculous. I don't believe you are psychic or something. The rumors at school, they are all bullshit. I came right to him and looked him in his eyes. I was looking at him with a sadistic smile like he was a bug that was going to be squashed.
Show us your cards.
Lloyd looked pathetic. His pompous jock was trembling all over. Actually, it was pretty funny, or it wasn't. Suddenly I realized that my delusions and actions started confusing me more and more. In the beginning, it was completely sure that it was absolutely right. It was like using a manual that was telling me how to win lotteries with 100% chance, but screw this shit. For me, it was as usual as breakfast in the morning. Of course, if I wanted to return to the factory and repeat the whole thing one more time, but not as much as I wanted a month ago. When I was almost maniacally looking at the woman who was trying not to fall, clutching the elevated cabin of the roller coaster.
Just show 'em.
Martin hit Lloyd's hand and trumps fell on the floor.
You asshole! Give me my $20 back.
It wasn't me. She set the whole thing up.
Are you kidding me? I was miles away from you.
You couldn't know. You just looked at my cards. You knew I had these trumps. I wasn't cheating. Prove that you're psychic. Looks like Lloyd was going mad. Obviously, I pretended that his words hurt me. Shit. It was so hard not to gloat. He was going straight into my trap. You fool! My feelings turned into some strange mix, and it was difficult for me to understand what I actually felt. Maybe I froze for a moment. That's why Lloyd yelled one more time. If I continue to lose the connection to reality like this, they'll definitely think that I'm crazy. Come on, Ashley, keep it together. I touched the tooth like it was going to give me strength and smiled wickedly. But prove it.
It's not as easy as you think. Yeah, you're right. I could get a peek at your cards, but he didn't.
What number from 1 to 1,000 am I thinking of?
Jesus, seems like this guy really believes in my abilities, which, by the way, leave much to be desired, for now at least.
You.
That's not interesting at all. It must be something more difficult.
What color is Kate's underwear?
God damn it!
Everyone ignored this question. Your turn.
Summon the spirits. I heard lots of psychics can talk to them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Jeez, you're like Ella. But I agree. That'd be great.
I guess it's not a very good idea. Because of his fear.
I'll prepare everything.
Oh god. It was very difficult not to laugh. They were so ridiculously naive. It was so funny to see them like this. But there's something more. The mystery of the whole thing. It inspired me in some way. Playing with fire always intrigued me. I knew something inexplicable, exciting, and terrifying at the same time was about to happen. Knowing this raised my spirits even more, as that it was my fault. They themselves asked me to do it. Nobody forced them. It would probably be better to do everything wrong, to the end this madness once and for all, but not today. This fool inspired me. He made me sink into a slothful full of rotten memories. Ew, what the fuck is that? Ew, why would you mention maggots and then make that sound? They were crawling into my ears. I heard them twitching inside. I heard their whispering of death. Perhaps Lloyd will be the first. Can you not? This moment was always turned my curiosity into a hungry beast waiting for the meat in its bloody bowl, given to it by its hand of fate. I dusted off an old handkerchief that was lying on the floor and began placing candles very carefully, like it was a caring mother who's taking precious children from kindergarten. 13 little children, short and tall, plump and thin, but all hungry. They were sleeping in my handmade cradle, which swung as I carried it into the ritual room. Oh, okay! I called this room by the name when we entered the house. It was kind of sad that I couldn't examine it properly because the pile of memories and thoughts that followed me to the main door was pretty dusty in here. It was obvious that the house like this had seen its best days, and now it was old, abandoned, and forgotten. In some corners of the hall, I could see spiderwebs. Gross! I really wanted my working place to be just a bit cleaner. Before I started my preparations, I knocked on the wall and the broom fell into my hands. Suddenly I felt very angry. What the heck? It would be a lot easier for her to do this. I threw the broom onto the wall, but it vanished before I reached the obstacle. The floor became much cleaner.
That's how it's done.
I took a piece of chalk with this my main tool for tonight. Of course, I didn't like crawling on the floor, but it was usually done this way. I like using the wall in the asylum much more in the traditional way. I tried some new things back there, but unfortunately everything ended badly. At least I stayed alive. In fact, I didn't use the chalk too much. There was no triangle symbol. It was just a huge circle in the center of the room, and of course, the star. It just wouldn't work without it. I didn't think I had any real power. I mean, you can see it almost everywhere. On the new emblem of the rock band, for example, but it looks like it was worth something. The candles were next, which was my favorite part. Last time when the drawings was on the wall, it was fascinating to put matches into cracks, but I think it was really mattered. Eventually everything was almost ruined. So I'd rather use candles this time. But first, I had to draw circles in the center of each star point between thick white lines, carefully, smoothly, and one of them scratched out, making a terrible sound like a chalk was finding some cloth. Finally, the picture was done. I put every candle in the exact spot, as if arranging the chess pieces on the board. Pawns first fell, as I called them. They embodied every person in the house. Only one piece could become the queen. No, I already was the queen, but I had to fake my unimportance as to not cause any suspicion. The fattest candle was meant for Kate, because she was obsessed with her figure. Makes sense. Mine was slim and beautiful, of course, but I had to break it into two pieces following the rules. Then they were put into the center of the star. Now it was time for the main players to join the game. And that's where I'm going to end this episode, because we've been going on for 40 minutes. So say goodbye.
Yep.
And we shall see you guys all in the next one. Derp. Bye.